So, Mom, all these years married to Dad, the millions of people that he impacted. Mm-hmm. When you think of future generations, what do you think the Zig documentary would mean to them, having all of Dad's material in one place?
I think it would be absolutely wonderful that if they would listen and understand and then do what he taught, it has meant so much to so many that I didn't even realize until after he left us. And then I still hear from many, many people. They all have something wonderful to say about how he helped them. So he was good.
He was good.
He was good.
Well, Mom, you were married to Dad for 66 years.
That's right.
And through that time, you literally saw him impact tens of thousands of people.
Yes.
And in Zig, the documentary, we're bringing all of Dad's best presentations together, his teachings, his message, into a powerful documentary that we think is going to impact people to come. What do you think will be the impact of this documentary based on all the people's lives who've already been impacted?
I think that would encourage them maybe to go out and encourage others to listen or read what he has written and to listen to his talks and the things he had to say, because he did reach many people. I had no idea how many until after he went home. And then just different people. I heard it from all over the country. I got all kinds of mail. And so that was really encouraging.
And Lori, you were Dad's assistant for 35 years, and you got the letters from people. The letters we were just talking about it. They could have been from prison. They could have been somebody who was newly married. They could have been somebody in a career change. And they talked about this life experience they had, about how they were going down one path, and then this message that Dad gave them put them in a new path. What do you think our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids, what's their response going to be to this documentary?
Well, one of the favorite things that happens to me right now is getting letters from people whose parents made them listen. They would either, in some instances, it was a punishment. In some instances, it was subtle. They would just have a road trip in mind, and the parents would just play the tapes, knowing that the kids were getting the message in the back seat or wherever they were riding, and how they resented it as young people. They just thought, oh, give us some music, or couldn't we listen to something else? And then as they grew up, and now they're adults, they realized the value of the messages that they were getting at that time, and how they are now affecting their lives, and what a difference they believe it has made for them. Mm-hmm. So I think that I'm excited about the documentary because it's so important that the message is continued, right. And that especially our younger people, that, you know, we get scared when we see some of the things that are happening in our society today, and we know they don't have these messages that Zig taught about the fundamental characteristics that we all grew up with and tried to put into our children, and they're not getting down to these younger generations. And I think with the results of the documentary that those characteristics and values will be continued and go on, and that's the excitement for me.
It's planting that seed. I can't tell you how many times, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 50 times, where the parent would say, you know, I put the CD on in the car and nobody listened to it. But then I turned the car off to go inside, and the 8-year-old from the back seat said, wait, turn that back on, because they wanted to hear the rest of the story.
It's amazing that happened as often as it did. And I also get a lot of kick out of hearing from people that maybe somebody found a set of the cassette tapes, that's a long time ago, in a trash dumpster. Mm-hmm. And it totally changed their lives. Or they picked them up at a garage sale somewhere. Maybe they paid 25 cents for one. And they write and they tell us what a difference that it made in their lives. So I know that the message is timeless, and it will continue to change lives and affect the people that are exposed to it.
I met a lady at an event, and she came up to me and said that she'd given her prized See You at the Top book that was autographed from Dad to somebody, and lost track of it. They never gave it back.
Oh, yeah.
And then one day she was in a half-price bookstore, And she found an old "See You at the Top." And when she opened it, it was autographed and it had her name on it.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't her book, but it just said "To Lisa" or something like that. And so these stories that people's lives have been impacted, we've got to change the next generation. And that's what the documentary is really about.
Yeah.
And Mom, you said something that really struck home. You said if they watch the documentary and then they listen to and read the other things that Dad said, and then they take action, then their life will be changed.
That's right.
And that's what Dad said from the stage everywhere he went. He even quoted, I think it was a Stanford study that said 95% of the people in a room are inspired to take action but never do because they don't have the resources.
Yes.
And that's what I love about this documentary is it's going to inspire people to take action, and then all the resources behind it are going to give them the follow-through material. So Mom, my daughter is Alexandra, and Alexandra is 20 years old. She's your granddaughter.
Beautiful granddaughter.
Beautiful. We done good.
You did.
Someday she's going to have kids. These are going to be your great-grandkids. That could be 5 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. We don't know. What would you tell them about watching this documentary? What would you say to them to encourage them to watch this documentary? What would they learn from it?
Well, I would tell them that they would get to know their great-grandfather in an entirely different way than even if he was here, right here with them at this moment. Because he expresses his inner feelings and what he has learned during a long life and how he gives it to others and to carry on. And it's you can know that it's real.
Right.
I think that's the main thing.
Yeah,
People believed him.
We forget that Dad grew up in Yazoo City, Mississippi. Right? His mom died when he was, or his father died when he was 5.
Right.
And he was raised by a mother with a 5th grade education.
And just some big brothers and sisters.
And the heart of the Great Depression.
But he, lucked up, you'll learn this when he talks, by having a boss who taught him everything and corrected grammar, did everything to help him. When you look back, you can see those things, how God works with us, how he prepares us, and he does.
Well, Lori and Mom, this Kickstarter Zig documentary that we're creating is awesome. Kickstarter is actually the platform by which we raise the funding for the documentary. And I love Kickstarter because until we get enough pledges to pay for the whole thing, we don't actually launch it. And so what we're looking for is 1,000 friends, 1,000 people whose lives have been impacted and who want to pass on Zig's message, Dad's message to their kids and grandkids and to next generation. Just imagine if your part in helping us bring this documentary to play is the part that changes somebody's life in your own family tree. Who knows, maybe there's another Zig Ziglar out there that's waiting to be inspired. And all they need is that spark, that idea, that message that Dad could bring. So as you consider this Kickstarter campaign, this building the Ziglar documentary, the documentary Zig, that's going to take this legendary message forward, I want you to join us. Click here and learn how you can pledge and participate in that.